Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay and the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Moneyball Minute. This is Kirk Henderson, editor-in-chief of MavsMoneyball.com. You are joining me on Tuesday, March 7th. The Dallas Mavericks have a game tonight, home game against the Utah Jazz, but we'll circle back to that a little on later in the show. I wanted to draw your attention to some posts that I liked around the internet with a day after the Phoenix Suns game. That was a really fun game. I think folks are understandably disappointed that the Mavericks didn't pull it out. They've had some really kind of rough goes of things over the last several weeks with these close losses, but it was really fun. And there's something to be said about fun basketball, I think, and I think sometimes we have a tendency to sort of take that a little bit for granted. All right, the first story I want to point you to is Josh Bowe's post on MavsMoneyball.com. I woke up this morning I woke up yesterday morning to him sharing overnight. He writes, Josh loves to write late at night, this really good story about why he thinks now that the Mavericks have a clearer path to true contention than they've had in a really long time. Now, the answer as to why he feels this way centers around Luka Doncic. I'll just read you a quick segment. Stars win in the NBA. Talent, more specifically, wins. Underdogs are fun, but they rarely do more in the NBA than maybe steal a first-round series. Top 4 seeds are the only teams that win titles, and to get a top 4 team, you need talent. You need more than one all-star. The Mavericks finally have that. Even in the loss on Sunday, seeing Doncic and Irving answer Durant and Booker bucket for bucket, point for point, was breathtaking. It's a good post. Josh is a great writer. Delighted that I work with him, I'll tell you that much, because you lose some of these close games, and I think it's really easy to kind of get down on the Mavericks for where they are. I mean, they're only one game above 500. It's pretty frustrating, but that's sort of the way of things. We learned after the game, and around the time Josh and I were recording the podcast following the game and the live show, Luka Doncic has apparently been bothered by a left thigh issue, which was why he was getting treatment early before the game, why he was kind of tentative and frankly not very effective in the first half against the Suns, and it's something to sort of watch as the Mavericks try to push forward. It's also worth noting that Doncic is one technical foul away from, I want to say, a suspension. So I'm almost wondering if we see like a strategically placed a technical foul at some point. I'm very curious about that. Anyway, Doyle Rader covered the post game yesterday against the Suns, and that was really a key takeaway following the loss, and I think it's worth your time to read that story. The next story is from my friend Mike Sanders over at 214thewin.com. He wrote a story for Josh Mazur's site. It's a good one. It's called The Mavericks Are Chaos, and he goes through just some of the really maddening losses the Mavericks have had this year. And, when you think about the final stretch of games, these losses that he covers we're going to be thinking about a lot of these. Our guy, Brian Zillum at Mavs Moneyball, has a running list that's much longer than Mike's of like the 15 games he thinks that the Mavericks let get away. And I think there's an argument for it, to be quite honest with you. Anyway, go check out that really good post. Then my buddy Grant Afseth over at DallasBasketball.com. They obviously do a lot of stories. He did a post about 3 big takeaways with, kind of the entirety of Monday to sit on and let process, instead of just instant reactions to the game. Grant is a good analyst, and I enjoyed reading his story here, and I think you should give it a click and, go into it. Obviously, one of the key takeaways is the fact that the Mavericks don't play any defense whatsoever. The second to last thing that I would like to draw your attention to is my friends SJ and Dwight, who record the 21 going on 77 podcast, did it's a little over an hour show that I enjoyed. They cover a lot of different topics. They like to argue and debate, and it's really great content. If you like smart fans talking basketball, which is not necessarily what I do, you should really give SJ and Dwight a listen. There's some talk about Christian Wood. There's some talk about building a championship team around Luka and Kyrie. There's a best closing 5 lineup discussion, and then just some, light whinging on Jason Kidd's show or lineups and what it does to all of us as we're watching the game. All right, the very last thing I want to share with you is Mavs.com's Bobby Corralo, Do Everything media guy, posted a tweet thread yesterday that I really liked it. I'm going to share it in the notes, obviously, like all this stuff, so you should go read it. But he basically gave away just kind of an incredible amount of data. It's stuff we all knew, but seeing it in one place is really something. He talks about how the Mavs are 2-6 in their last 8. 5 of the 6 losses were decided in the last 10 seconds or in OT. In that time frame, the Mavericks have the 3rd best offense in the league and the 30th ranked defense. He goes on to say, Dallas is 3-21 this season when allowing 119 points per 100 possessions in a game. The Spurs rank 30th this season at 119.6. The Mavericks are 30-11 in all other games. He goes on to note that the Mavericks don't have to be a top 10 defense. A top 29 caliber defense would have won all of the games the Mavericks lost. He's saying the Mavericks have lost 21 games because their defense has been that abysmal. The Bobby is just such a smart guy. I think that particularly with his role with the Mavericks, he doesn't get to write as much as I think that he would like to. But he does do these great live shows that they do on Mavs.com. Anyway, Bobby's the homie. Really like Bobby. Go give this a click. So that's kind of the biggest gist of what I've got, going this morning. That's 5 or 6 links that I think are worth your time. Really recommend going and giving all those a click. Before we head out here, just some brief kind of look ahead at the schedule. The Mavericks play 4 more ESPN games and 4 more nationally or NBA TV games, which is pretty interesting. They have a very road-heavy schedule, as Josh and I mentioned. The Mavericks are really not that good on the road. It's a little bit concerning. Now, when you have like roadies against New Orleans and against Memphis, those are right around the corner because they play Utah tomorrow, then they go Wednesday, then they go Saturday. So it's just really something to kind of keep an eye on with these road games, because if they play a 5-game road stretch to nearly close out the season, 5 of their last 8 are on the road. So they go Charlotte, Indiana, Philadelphia, Miami, Atlanta. That is a lot tougher than you might think, because the Sunday game against Charlotte is one the Mavericks should win because the Charlotte Hornets have no particularly interest in winning. But these noon games have just really bit the Mavericks this year. Well, I hope you join us on Mavs Moneyball later tonight for the Utah game. That's a normal time of 7:30 p.m. We'll have our normal slate of things after the show. It's pretty important that the Mavericks get this win because then they have to get on a flight and head to New Orleans and play roughly 20 hours later in the early ESPN game. So I'm really hopeful that the Mavericks take care of business and we can just move on with our day. Head over to Mavs Moneyball. We'll have a normal array of posts. We have another one from our friend Meta Robinson, wonderful writer. We have, the betting post, the preview. There's always stuff at mavsmoneyball.com for you to read. Thank you for hanging out, and I hope you join us on the live show later tonight on Spotify Live. This has been Kirk Henderson, and I will talk with you later tonight.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.